What is going on, everyone? Zach Lyons-Wade here. I know it's been a while, probably almost 2 years now, but I'm back. 2025 in the bag. Let's do it. Starting off with the putters. Still using the Ricos in the hard plastic. I've probably been using them about 2 years now at this point, and still loving them. These are actually still the original pair, but they're still flying true. They're still flying straight. They have lost a little bit of that overstability in the late flight, which I kind of liked at the beginning. So I imagine I'm going to be using a new pair here pretty soon, but the Ricos are still working great. Still loving them. All right, we've got the glitch in the bag. The glitch is probably a staple. I say that now that I've had it for 2 years still, but it's a great catch disc, great warm-up disc, and nice for those little soft bids, soft little layup shots. Not using it too much when it gets windy out because it doesn't have that much integrity and it's only 150 grams. But the glitch is a nice, fun straight flyer. The zone, I've got a purple one in the bag right now, and for some reason this zone in particular has just been flying really nice for me. Been in the bag for about 3-4 months now. I don't know what it is. It's a confidence thing. It's all mental, obviously, but I don't know. This zone has just been flying real nice for me. So this purple one's probably going to stay in the bag. Purple on purple proxy. This one's been jumping in and out of the bag because of confidence issues. I haven't been playing as much recently, but I recently just moved to St. Louis, and the elevation change compared to Phoenix, I lost about 1,000 feet of elevation. We're about 500 feet where I'm at right now, and even lower in some spots. So the proxy is still very straight, but it's also going to have that right turn. It may not even turn left at the finish. It's just going to be kind of still serves that point and shoot purpose for me, but it's not going to have that straight to even little overstable finish for me anymore, and that's what this disc provides for me. This has also been kind of jumping in and out of the bag, and at first it was kind of a joke kind of disc, but the more I throw it, the more I love it, and it actually kind of feels good in the hand. The shape of it feels good in the hand. It's the R Pro Hydra, floats in water. Again, it was meant to be more of a joke when I first put it in the bag, but it actually flies really nice. Brand new, it kind of flies like a P2, which is something that I was messing with back in the day, like an S-Line P2, and the flight is very similar. At this point, after a couple years of throwing it, it has straightened out quite a bit, but it still has that reliable left finish, and even if I put on hyzer, it's never going to really flip up to flat, but it's just going to hold that hyzer. And if I throw it on ante, it's kind of going to hold that ante, but it might start to flatten out a little bit. So that's the difference between the proxy and the hydra. The hydra will definitely come out and have a little bit of left finish, whereas the proxy is more straight. All right, on to the mids. First one, we've got the Midnight Prowl, the original Midnight Prowl Meta Origin. This thing is an absolute workhorse in the woods. It's a little bit more overstable than like your Neo Origin, your typical Origin, and that's kind of what I like. The regular Origins are a bit too flippy. They're still great flyers, but the Midnight Prowl edition of the Origin, I've just felt to be a better flyer for me personally. I tend to throw a little bit harder when I'm throwing a mid, and the stability of these in particular hold up really well. And then moving on, next in stability, I'm kind of messing with a hex right now. I'm in between a hex and a buzz and an MD3. They're all serving the same purpose right now. The hex is feeling really nice. Typically the MD3 has a similar flight. The buzz may be a little bit straighter, maybe have a little bit less finish than the hex and MD3 do. The But the hex has felt really nice in the hand. It's a little bit of a shallower feel, especially the glow ones like the axolotls. But this neutron plastic is really good, and I don't know, the hex is kind of that mid-range version of the point and shoot disc that I like. Kind of holds any angle you put it on. Deflector. The deflector, I feel like, is becoming a staple in my bag because I don't have to. I can rely on it very well when it comes to chopping on forehands or throwing crazy anti-backhands. The overstability is probably next to the Mutant. The Mutant may be a little bit more than the Deflector, but the Deflector feels better in my hand. It's very similar, I'd say, to like a Justice kind of feel without the bead. And I don't know, if I need a little bit more distance for an approach shot, then maybe my zone, I'll pull out the Deflector. But even then, the overstability of the Deflector may end up going very, very similar distance to the zone. So if it gets windy out or I need something with a lot of left to right movement, I'll pull out the Deflector. Next, one of my favorite discs that I've come to love in the past year and a half, 2 years, is the TL Special Edition stamp, thanks to my buddy Dylan. It was a really cool stamp. But anyways, it's a Champ TL, and I believe it's patent numbers. Champ TL. If I throw it like this on hyzer, it's gonna flip up all the way, and even a little bit of turn at this elevation. Phoenix, it was still flippy. So as I drop a little bit in elevation, it becomes even more flippy. So it's a really good utility disc, getting out of trouble if I need something to start on hyzer and flip up all the way, and then maybe even kind of coast to the left finish. I'll pull out the TL, and it even can be useful as a roller as well. But in St. Louis here, not any courses demand any rollers, maybe a couple, but not like in Phoenix where it's pretty wide open. So TL, great disc. Also a newer addition to the bag, kind of as of late, is the resistor. This is a glow resistor specifically. Love the colors on this thing, but the Flight, Eagle McMahon throws the resistor. He makes it look wildly different than I do, but this one is basically like a slower Firebird, in between like Eagle and Firebird stability. 6.5 speed, I believe, and really mainly backhand flex shots or little short spike hyzers with the backhand, and the sidearm, it works just as nicely. Kind of acting more for that Firebird stability is what you're going to see on a sidearm. And so very controllable, not as fast as a Firebird, but a little quicker than a Deflector. So I have that little in-between slot, and that's what the resistor does for me. The FD1, also a favorite, absolute favorite in the past 2 years. This is probably closer to that Eagle stability, or like an overstable Sagara. I don't know what everyone's familiar with these days, but FD1, throwing it flat, you're gonna get a nice flat hold, maybe a tad bit of turn, but not much, and it's always gonna have that left finish. Reliable even in the wind, maybe flip up sidearms, but that's pretty much all I'm using the FD1 for, and it works every time. CD1, this one kind of jumps in and out of the bag. Right now it's in, because it kind of serves as a faster version of what the TL does for me, kind of that hyzer flip, or throw it flat and it'll turn, maybe even burn a little bit too much at this point. It's getting a little flippy, but it feels really nice, and the flip up sidearms work really well with this thing. I don't really throw it on sidearm too much, Mainly a backhand disc, but it's that flippy slot. Color Glow FD3. This one's been a favorite for 3-4 years now. Very, very straight sidearms and very, very straight backhands. That's always going to finish left, and it's always going to finish right for forehands. So this slot specifically, this disc, is a very straight flyer for me, but it always has that reliable finish, and that's what this disc is for. FD3, this one has been in my bag for 3-4 years. Still flying very overstable, very well. It's a wind fighter. It's an overstable FD3. Backhands, forehands, you name it. Star Orc. This one is a pre-flight number Orc. This one is a slightly faster version, maybe of that CD1. Has a little bit more integrity than the CD1 does as far as stability. If I throw it flat, it's going to turn a little bit, but it is going to have a little bit of finish, which is what I like this slot for. I kind of like a full flight out of this 10 speed. And if I throw it on hyzer, it's going to hold the hyzer. It may flip up a little bit, but it's going to have a nice gliding finish. And so this is a great disc. C-Line PD. This one has also been in the bag as long as that FD3, maybe even longer. I don't know, but this one is a staple. I hope I never lose this one, but the more I throw it, the more I get nervous about losing it. So I end up not throwing it that much, but I need to start throwing it because this is such a workhorse disc. It's not as overstable as the FD3, but it still serves that overstable purpose, and it's kind of closer maybe to that Color Glow FD3 when it comes to stability, but I can even trust it probably a little bit more on an Anheuser angle, and I know it's still going to come back. It's not as overstable as it started, which is kind of sad, but also at the same time, like, it's flying better than it ever has before. So this one, I imagine, is probably going to be bumped down a slot, and I'm going to put a new PD to serve that overstable purpose for me. But this one is probably never going to leave the bag, no matter how nervous I get about losing it. I'm going to throw it until it's unusable. Great disc. Star Wraith, another one of those stamps by Dylan. It's a sweet stamp. This disc is great for straight, long distance shots. In the woods, it has a lot of left to right movement because of the angles I can manipulate. It's not too overstable and it's not too flippy. That's pretty much the best way I can describe this disc, and it just goes very far, almost as far as my 12 speed. So great disc. DD3, this one's been in the bag forever. Getting flippy. Well, I say getting flippy. It's very flippy at this point. It's pretty much exclusively rollers or like extreme hyzer angles, and it'll flip up all the way to flat and maybe even get a little bit of turn. More of a utility disc at this point. But I do find myself bringing it out for like some crazy flip up sidearm angles, especially in the woods. Some of the holes out here call for that kind of shape, and this disc is great for that. It's a good one to have in the bag. This is my furthest flying disc in the bag right now. I just threw it the other day with my buddy Colin and measured one out. I think it was around 515, which is pretty good for me, who is a dad and hasn't played too much in the past, I don't know, 2 years. So Star Destroyer, pretty basic Star Destroyer. It's got some dome to it. Get that nice glide. Stability wise, it's been beat in quite a bit, so it's the most neutral destroyer you'll ever see. but it still does have that reliable left finish, which is what a destroyer is great for. So. This is another destroyer, Star Destroyer. This one is a little flatter and has a little bit more overstability than that peach one. It's also kind of a water disc at this point because I don't care for it as much. I play a lot of courses out here that have a lot of water. A lot of water. And so I find myself pulling this guy out. But the funny thing about water discs is the more you use them, the more you learn the disc and the more you've come to love them. And that's kind of what this thing has done for me. I don't throw it too much on the sidearm. I like a little bit of a domier feel on the distance drivers for sidearms. So this one's pretty exclusively backhand, but the flight is becoming really nice. It's not too overstable, but it's always going to have that overstable fade. So, also a very, very fun disc to throw. I've kind of been throwing this all over the place the past couple years. Champ X-Cal. Got this nice die to it. Overstable for sure, but it's starting to, especially down here at 500 feet above sea level, it flies a little bit straighter than it did in Phoenix, which is great because I don't have to yank over on it as much as I did back in Phoenix, and I can still rely on the fade that it's going to have every single time. It's also a great sidearm disc. This one has a tiny bit of dome, and it's great for everything. Halo Destroyer is the last one. There's pretty much one reason I have the Halo Destroyer in my bag, and it is to go left when you throw backhand and go right when you throw sidearm. No matter how much wind you're dealing with, this Halo Destroyer, I don't know which year these were, but ever since they came out, it's been a great disc, great wind fighter, and pretty much all the way up to 30-mile-an-hour winds, this is going to do exactly what you predict it to do. So, anyways, that's all. Again, I know it's been a while since I've made an upload. I've been busy. I'm actually hoping to kind of get back into it. I just started flight instructing. Hopefully, freed up a little bit of time, but who knows? It's going to be unpredictable. So, anyways. 2025 in the bag. I'm excited. We're already over halfway through the year, but I have at least one more tournament coming up, the St. Louis Open. Very excited to play that one. And yeah, that's what's in my bag, and I appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you next time.